What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Daily Refinement. My name is Chris. I have a very special guest with us today, Jackson. He goes by Resale Addicts. I will have his information linked in the description below. Jackson, what's up? What's going on?
Hey,
Tell
how
me,
are you doing?
doing awesome. Tell me about where you live and maybe how old you are and how you got started.
All right, so I'm from the Woodlands, Texas. It's a town up north of Houston, Houston area. I am 15 years old and I resell online on eBay and Amazon.
So this is kind of scary because, when I first got introduced to you, you definitely act like an old soul. Like
Yeah.
from first glance, it looks like you're 30 years old. Why are you doing e-commerce? Let's start there.
So the way I got started was my aunt would resell stuff. They would go to thrift stores and they would find stuff like high-end stuff and sell it. And then I started doing that. I started in 2017. I was around 13 when I started doing reselling on eBay. And I started just selling stuff that I got at Goodwill and stuff like that. And then it just took off from there.
So this is like a non-traditional route. Most people who are 15 years old are just in high school, maybe playing video games. They're just going to school, but you are also running a business on the side. Let's talk about how does school work for you?
So I go to an online school that in Texas, and so it's around like 4 to 6 hours a day. So it's around how much public school will be. Um, but the time helps me a lot because I can work. I could work from 2 to 7 p.m. or whatever, or work from 2 to 7 a.m. Go to sleep, and then I can do schoolwork at 1 in the morning. I can do that. That's how I base my schedule around, or I don't base my schedule around the school, is I base it about my business. So then it helps me factor all of that in, is factoring around business.
What do your parents think of you? Is it your decision that you decided to go to online school?
Yes, it was. So it was. I went to online school mid eighth grade, so second semester of eighth grade. And so I talked to my mom about it. She was like, "Okay, we'll try it out. We'll try it out for a semester." We did a semester, and it was really good. And then we did. So then we did a second semester, and then I think we're gonna keep on doing that. Um, and I might be trying to work with somebody with a teacher that's actually might start a business school. So might be working on a business school as well and helping her with that.
So just talking to you for a few minutes, you have great speaking skills for a 15-year-old. Where does that come from?
Thank you.
Because you're not socially awkward, like homeschool or situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why do
I
you,
don't.
why are you like this?
I do a lot of stuff. I talk to people every day. I'm talking to a lot of people every day. So it keeps me going. It's not like I'm hiding away. So it's not like it's awkward when I come back and talk to people because I'm talking to people every single day.
Do you feel like you're missing your childhood? Because you run some serious numbers. Like you could definitely support yourself with your eBay business.
I was thinking about that for sure.
Mhm.
I don't work on my business a lot. I work, I mean, maybe 5 hours a day, maybe 20 hours a week or whatever. So I do a lot of stuff out of reselling that I feel that's my like childhood or whatever. So I do a lot of stuff socially with a lot of other, like my friends that still go to local schools, whatever. So I don't really feel like I'm missing it. I feel like I'm just doing this on the side as well. And I kind of have like two lives.
That is insane. So can your friends relate to you? This is very different.
Um, Not really. They don't really. So I have to find something to relate to, which can sometimes be hard. But yeah, they are pretty amazed of what I do and like how I do it because I'm in 130 square foot like this is where I work. This is about all the room I have is 130 square feet. And it's full of inventory, shipping stuff behind me, and it's full. And they're so amazed, and actually two of them work for me and all that. And it's pretty crazy.
So, I mean, you also are a multi-platform seller. So you're on eBay and Amazon.
Yeah. So I do. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, I do Amazon, eBay, a little bit of Poshmark, not really. So Amazon, we buy a lot of liquidation stuff. So we send a lot to Amazon. I don't do amazing on there. We hit five figures last year. we'll probably hit five figures again this year. And then eBay, we did hit five figures, but it was more high. It was high five figures, um, pretty high five figures. And this year we're hoping for even higher.
Do you have like
Definitely.
a specific income goal? Do you live at home with your one of your parents? How does this work?
Yeah. So I live with one of my parents. So I'm just trying to get as much money as possible. I'm trying to buy, like, right now, like, I can even drive legally.
I know you
So
can't drive yet.
right
Yeah.
right now I'm saving for vans. I'm trying to get locally there's storage lockers with office spaces. I'm aiming to get those, get at least for, I don't know, 1 or 2 years. Um that's kind of what my goals are for right now with how much space I have, because I could scale in 300 square feet. I could probably push six figures with no
So,
problem.
so question for you. This is you have a lot of skills.
Yes.
And I am very interested in why you were able to build these skills, because there is a lot of stuff involved with e-commerce. There's shipping, there's prepping, you're looking for goods. You're operating in a small space, which is usually good if people learn how to do it in a small space versus some people have unlimited space. That's not a good thing because they don't
Yeah.
learn how to be efficient like you. 130 square feet, that must mean your bedroom.
Yeah, it is a second bedroom. It is
Yeah.
a second bedroom. It's I just fit as much as possible. I fill it to the top. And then if it gets overflowed, I sort it out. I take a lot of trash out. I have a lot of trash. That's one with dealing with storage lockers and pallets and stuff like that, is there's a lot of trash that you have to deal with. So once I can sort all that trash out, it's not as much as people would think. And I can store stuff very well. I have a full inventory system and all that. So everything is so, like, easy to get, and I can fit a lot more because I'm pretty organized with what I do.
And did you learn this from YouTube? Where did you learn all this information?
I started watching. I You're probably the first person I watched. It was probably one of your viral videos, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago. So I started watching you. Rally Roots was a big one. I started watching them at like 9,000 subscribers, maybe even 7,000.
Hmm.
So y'all too have probably got me to where I am today. You guys are probably the only people I've really looked out for information on YouTube. Everything else I'm self-taught in.
So this is just you finding stuff and flipping it?
Right.
Okay. So how did you do that without a car?
I would have my parents drive me. Like, they would go to Goodwill or whatever. They would take me. And they enjoy watching me do this and make money. So that's how they are supporting me. That's how I'm able to get around and stuff like that.
Are they charging you rent?
They are not. I am going to be charged rent, I believe, when I'm 16. They're going to
Okay.
start charging rent. I don't know how much it is, probably a lot, but
When do you
uh,
turn 16?
October.
This is so amazing. I love it. So, okay. So now we got to talk about something interesting. You're going to be a sophomore. So you have a few
Yes.
more years before college is even a thing.
Oh yeah.
When you think about college, is that something that you want to do?
I'm on the fence right now about it. I could continue reselling. I could easily hit 6, 7 figures
Hmm.
without having school, with having all my time towards this and hiring employees and having that.
Hmm.
But I have a lot of interest in being a lawyer and a doctor. That's two big things I really am interested in. But I don't know if I'm going to pursue that. I don't know, because that's a lot of school
It's a
and
lot
that's
of school. One
time.
thing that you do learn when you do resell, and especially since you have employees, which is also remarkable at your age, but this concept of understanding e-commerce can translate to um, starting your own law firm, starting your
Yeah.
own practice. This is all related, and it's just instead of client, it's products. So
Right.
this
Yeah.
definitely applies. I'm so psyched for you. I'm in the process of interviewing another 17-year-old girl who she makes about the same amount of money as her parents, just selling directly on Instagram. And I
Oh
didn't.
yeah.
This is insane because we're talking about, like, for fun. She's making as much money as her parents do full time,
Right.
and
Yeah.
this is a a sort of an interesting concept. But I think you have parents that are supportive somewhat. They're not like
Yeah.
saying you can't do it.
Right, right. Yeah. I probably, without their support, I mean, none of this would be happening, which is pretty amazing that they're letting me do this. It's I thought about it the other day. It's like not your average person is doing this at all.
No. How did you get started with capital?
What do you mean?
Did your parents give you an allowance?
Oh,
Did you work on the side?
nope. I started with probably, I think, $30. I bought a video game lot off of eBay in an auction, and I resold all of them. So it started with $27, and that was it. I think I had maybe a couple $100 thrown at me from some people. I think from my mom, but that was about it.
So you're not a $50,000 gift from your parents to get started.
Oh no, I would never do that. I
Okay,
would never do that.
so you got started just scrapping, buying some stuff on eBay to resell on eBay. That is a fantastic way to start. And
Right.
and right now, what kind of inventory levels do you have in your eBay? How much stuff do you have for sale?
Right now on eBay we have around 300-ish. One being a pretty successful replenishable. A couple other stuff that we're trying out. A couple of replenishables that we might be ordering more of. As well as a lot of we sell a lot of like a consumer electronics. We sell some gold because we get storage lockers, so we do get gold
Mhm.
and diamonds and stuff like that. So we do decent with that. Camcorders I've sold actually quite a few of. And I'm doing a return rate. My like I'm selling these items probably 70 days is the average time it takes to sell the item, which is kind of a lot. But I've sold 143 items with 230 items listed. So for what the stuff was, I did pretty well.
That's incredible. That is not slow sell through rate. My goal is 90 or less. Usually it's less, but when you look at you knowing your numbers is amazing to me. So that
Thank
must
you.
mean you understand like how long you're waiting to get your cash back, or you can put it
Yeah.
in something else. This is all self-taught.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's amazing to me because this is very very cool. So we do have a few more topics I want to dive into. Let's talk about sourcing for right now.
Okay.
So let's start with the different kinds of sourcing that you partake right now.
Right. So I just about every sourcing. I did private label, didn't work too well because it was too saturated. I do online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. I do what else? I do just about anything, honestly. A lot of online arbitrage. We do storage lockers. We clean up storage lockers. We do liquidations, garage sales, estate sales. We do just about everything.
That is so awesome. So you learn and you just tried. So do you have any advice for people who are starting a new type of sourcing? What do you do? If I were to say, "Hey Jackson, we're going to go do some government auctions and you've never been before. How are you going to approach it?"
Know what you're buying and don't
Mm.
don't waste your money on something you think will sell. Waste your money on something you know will sell.
That is incredible advice. It's actually okay to overpay for something you know will sell.
Yeah,
Most people do not do that. They're afraid. They might spend less money on something they don't know.
right. Yeah.
That's a great point. Awesome. So you buy on your storage auctions. Are you getting those online?
Yeah, we do. We to go through online. We haven't done one in a couple months, but they were probably around 1,000% ROI. We found some crazy gems in there, such as signed Mickey Mantle balls, Nolan Ryan balls. We have military bomb crates. We had probably $500+ worth of scrap gold, bunch of silver. Then there was just all that other junk that you get. We also sold all that off and stuff like that.
So you don't have a car.
Nope.
You don't pay rent.
Nope.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Working on it.
Working on it. Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. So what happens to the money and the profit? Does it go back in the new stuff? How are you approaching that?
It definitely goes back into the business. Supplies is a big thing because I'm definitely upgrading my supplies a lot. Because it's definitely necessary. Like I'm like photo booths, photo equipment. I'm getting a lot of because I'm gonna be I might even be hiring 5+ people in a few months. That'll be part time, but it's gonna be a lot of people. So it's gonna be a lot of like working stations, a lot of poly bags because I use clear poly bags for just about everything that I store. It's just easier. It's really cheap, and it's probably the best way that I suggest doing it. and then those are stored in bins. They're labeled, they go in a bin, and then the bin is labeled as well.
I love it. So, as a basic inventory rule, what you want to do is basically identify the item, identify the location, and put the location and the item ID somewhere in the listing. That's how you would find your items when you're going
Yeah,
through. This is also exactly the same thing as what Amazon does in their warehouses. Every item has
exactly.
two pieces of information that are critical. Where and what is it? So
Right.
that's amazing. Cool. So you've been doing different kinds of sourcing and you're reinvesting the money back in, which is very cool. Do you like you could potentially pay for your own school if you go that route? Are you thinking about like this is a really important episode because there's so many
Yeah.
people who watch my channel that are younger and they're debating, should I go to school, should I not go to school? I can learn skills right now to earn money. Do you look at it also like you're trying to learn skills?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I've learned so much from this. Like even look on eBay before you buy something. Like I've saved probably so much money doing just that alone.
Hmm.
Um, but I've learned a lot, like shipping. I mean, even hiring employees, you learn so much about managing, and stuff like that. And replenishables, there's a lot of knowledge that you need to know for that as well, like copyright. And there's a lot of stuff that has to do with the product I am selling with copyright, and we are able to still sell it without any copyright issues.
So if you're hiring some of your friends, is that like are you hooking them? Are you paying them like is there like a friend setup or how does it work working with friends?
Oh, no, no, no. I pay them by what they list. I don't pay them an hourly rate. I think
Mm.
that's not the right way to go. I think paying them by what work they actually do is probably a lot better because they could just sit and be listing one thing every 20 minutes. That's not profitable at $7, $8 an hour. I want them listing 10, maybe even 20, 30 items an hour. And they're getting that done. They do have a few flaws that I do fix. That's one part of managing all of that, but with how much I pay them and how much they get, and they're happy with what they get, that it's definitely worth it for me fixing a few errors every now and then.
How do you check their work?
I pick around so if they list 50 things, I will go through. I So they list in one bin. They have one bin. They list it all in that one bin. So they label the item like O3. It'll be a bin that says O3. I'm going to go through every one, make sure that if they need to be bubble wrapped before they were put in the poly, they are bubble wrapped. So for like electronics and stuff like that, I'll make sure that the item's in there, and then I go through. I pick around 15 to 20, type them in on eBay, and if they show up, they're listed. If they don't show up, I take them out of the poly, put them back, and make them listed again.
What about your business? How is it divided, eBay and Amazon? What's the percentage of your business?
So last year we did very well on Amazon. Our last quarter, sorry, not our last quarter. Our last month, we did probably four, maybe even $5,000 because we were doing some drop shipping on there as well. We were testing about some drop shipping on there. So we did. It's probably this year. I'm expecting like 25, 75, 75 being eBay.
Okay.
So I'm not putting like much, if any, work in Amazon. Maybe like an hour to a week at most.
Are you ungated in a lot of brands or not yet?
I'm a decent amount. We had problems with our account, so we did get those taken away, a couple of those taken away, but we're able to build it back up and actually we got re-ungated and all of that in quite a few categories and brands. Yeah,
Well, I mean, this is something that you should tell all of your friends and all the people that we know and all those people that are listening right now that are younger. Getting ungated is one of the harder parts of Amazon.
for sure.
You get an account open immediately and just slowly start selling stuff. Amazon's going to start trusting you. Make sure you take care of your performance metrics. You're going to learn about copyright infringement. You're going to have companies reach out and say, don't sell our stuff. This stuff is very, very good for you to learn how business works. And what you just mentioned, which is you become a smarter shopper at your age. Like you're not going to really overpay ever
Yeah.
on anything.
Oh yeah, there was one thing I was selling that was on Amazon. We were drop shipping from eBay to Amazon, which is rare for somebody to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we were buying it for $20, selling it for 70, and we probably sold 30 units of them. and it's just people not looking. I mean, that's really what it is. Exact same model, exact same condition.
That's important to recognize as well, that voted one of my top sourcing opportunities is eBay to Amazon. Amazon's more of a retail operation, right? They're going to get closer to MSRP on items that are hot.
Yeah.
So the eBay to Amazon is much more common than Amazon to eBay for
Mhm.
flips. And then the other flip would be the highest turnover was estate sales, and like when homes are cleaned out before they go into something, what'll happen is like instead of taking all the stuff to a storage or a thrift store, which is where a lot of people get their goods, you can talk to a realtor. And if the realtor is like, hey, this house is going to be cleaned out, Jackson, you and your friends come, sell as much of it as you can or take whatever before it goes to the thrift store and Goodwill, then you're really making huge profits because that stuff hasn't been sorted. Because as most people know, Goodwill is a very heavy online seller themselves.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
they're taking out a lot of the good stuff before you get there.
Yeah. I've actually bought, Goodwill and OfferUp. They paired up. They went
That's right.
together. I bought stuff from there because it was the returns 400-500 ROI.
That's
So
right.
they sell stuff like a lot. I've bought in cameras before too. They can't test that stuff if it doesn't have the battery or whatever. So that's how I know it's untested. That's also a great thing to look out for, is buying them from a Goodwill or Salvation Army online store, because a lot of people, will test it or whatever, and then it'll be broken and they'll sell it untested. So you can trust a brand like that because they don't test it if they can't find the charger or battery or whatever, or the battery doesn't have charge. So that's one thing with Goodwill and stuff like that. And with estate sales, so there was a garage sale that I saw, and it was, I don't know, 1,000+ containers. We were real like store like little plastic containers. We were really interested in buying it. They were asking a lot when we got there, so we were like, we'll buy all of it at the when it's over. There was still like 100 pieces left. This stuff doesn't sell amazing. It sells okay. They wanted $600 though. And it's $30 items. For the amount of time it's going to take for me to sell this, which is probably going to be 2 to 3 years, that's not worth it at all. But now she is a realtor, so now I do. So I'm going to start, contacting her because she does get a lot of estates where she has to sell a bunch of stuff out of it, and so that is one thing we were actually thinking about for sure.
So one thing I'm going to challenge you to do because of your position is there's nothing more than what rich people love to do is help young people.
Yeah,
Like
for
this
sure,
is
for
like a
sure.
huge thing. So if you were to try to set up a consignment model, which is the direction I'm moving, and you start connecting yourself with well-to-do people and say, like, I'm young, I'm an entrepreneur, like if I decide to go to school or not, I'm gonna know how to utilize it properly. I'm getting my foot started. Do you have stuff that I can sell? You might be able to start selling stuff that's very expensive, cars, expensive stuff. And in your area also, there's a lot of wealth. Definitely.
Yeah,
Texas is one of the richer countries like California. You guys could be your
yeah,
own country. So
yeah.
that situation is because, like, California and Texas, if they were countries, they would be like in the top 20 countries of the
Right,
world,
yeah.
just the economy of the one state. So that is like, just I think I wonder, how close are you to Houston?
So from Central Houston, we're about 40 minutes. But we live in one of the top 10 most expensive suburbs, so we do have a lot of rich people here. So that is actually a very good idea for anybody starting out, is ask people if they're getting rid of stuff. That's actually a really good idea for stuff they have around the house, clothes, whatever. And then eventually getting into cars, that is one thing I was looking into for sure.
Yeah, and I love it because Houston is the fourth largest metropolitan in the country.
Yeah.
It's huge, it's massive. There's a lot of money rolling through there, and also, like, what happens is in areas that where space is a little bit cheaper than where I live, people have way more stuff. So people are always saying, "Oh, California, everyone's rich." Yes, but the amount of space that we have is a lot smaller. There's more
Right.
things to buy in the middle of the country, but there's also a lot more sorting. So you figured out a couple of things. You figured out that you can add profit to an item if it's untested or broken or dirty. A lot of people don't recognize that. You've learned that at a young
Yeah.
age. So, do you,
I,
what kind of categories do you sell in?
everything. I was looking today. I've my top ones: consumer electronics, clothing, shoes, um, just phones is one thing. I do refurbish iPhones. I do that. I spend some time on that. It's a little side thing that I might start getting into a little more because of the price of replacing phone screens is absolutely crazy. So that's I'm more electronics, figuring out clothing, trying to buy clothing more in bulk now though.
Hmm.
New tags, bulk from liquidations and stuff like that. So I think in the future probably clothing's gonna be one of my top ones because of storage space.
Let's talk about replenishable versus one-off.
Yeah.
How
So,
do you approach that?
well, replenishables are probably so they're very risky because I'm getting these replenishables from China. I'm using a translator to speak to the person. You don't know if they're gonna actually send the stuff to you. It's risky. Talking to the person can be hard as well because of the language barrier and all that. But if you can find a product that sells well, shouldn't have a problem. I sell a product that has over 1,000 people selling this exact same item. I am the cheapest by many dollars, and I'm still doing around 300 to 400% ROI on a replenishable. That is pretty crazy. Um, because I'm using a third party shipping service that allows me to ship these for $1, not 265 whatever. So that's because they're very light, they're very small. So that's another one thing to approach when doing replenishables. And the storage space, I store 100 of these in like a little bin this big. I can store 100 in there, and that'll profit me 500-600 bucks. That I can't. I mean, there's nothing this size that I can really find one off that can make me that much.
That's right. Now, this is another thing that I don't know if you actually you I don't know if you know this or not, but I've been studying warehouses as an example. So let's
Mhm.
say, for example, you are selling a 100 of one item. When you have a box of them, the box can be completely full because it can be literally 100% full because it's always the same item. Now,
Right,
here's the thing: if you go down to one off, meaning let's say there's a hundred separate items. You can't put that in one box. According to warehouse logistics, it should be in 3 or 4 boxes because you need space to find it.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So this like that's something that people don't understand is when you have one offs, the storage requirement is more. So like it can be more expensive as you scale for space versus it's smaller margin. Yes, but it's a quarter of the space potentially that you need.
yeah, for sure. I definitely think, and I mean, we're definitely working towards replenishables for sure.
Hmm.
It's just cheap China products that you can that people find a value. And that's what about just about everything is. It's Chinese stuff that you can find.
That's
And
right.
actually, one thing with replenishables is I've gone through DH Gate before. I I really don't recommend it considering there's a lot of middlemen. There's a lot of middlemen with DH Gate. I would try to find the exact manufacturer because I have got like these middlemen are making 3 times their money because they have somebody in China that is making it for them. And I get the invoice that says $60 and I paid 175 or whatever. That's one big thing for replenishables is finding the actual source and manufacturer of that product, not finding the middlemen because they're making a killing and they might not even be in China. They could be in the US just managing this profile with all these items.
Wow, that is so cool. Okay, this is very true because if you go to the middlemen, their job is to sell as many as possible, but they're not necessarily interested in whether or not you turn a profit because they,
Yeah.
and also you're not looking for any type of competitive advantage. I'm going to ask you another question in just a second, but like you figured out a way through one product to get a shipping discount. You figured out through another product that is untested, you can find some profit. So why are you a problem solver? Because so many resellers are like, oh, I give up. it's not profitable. How come you're like going one step further to figure out why, or can I make this profitable? Where did you
Yeah.
learn that?
I don't know, but I mean, finding multiple streams of income is a big priority. That's
Mm,
one thing is, like I'll see in comments that, oh, Goodwill prices are like out of the roof. Find another way to make money. Goodwill should not be the only way you should be able to make money.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
Goodwill
agree.
prices are skyrocketing,
Yeah.
but find somewhere else to make money. There's so many ways to make money. I mean, and people say that with a lot of things. Even some replenishables are going up in price with the Chinese tax and all that.
Hmm.
There's, I mean, and so finding different ways to source your products and to make money is very important, because Goodwill could shut down and go all online eventually. A lot of things could happen that could completely shut your business down if you don't have those multiple resources.
Jackson, do you do any reading?
A little bit. I do some reading, but it's all like, yeah,
So the reason why I ask is the abundance mentality is, wow, there are so many ways to make money. If this doesn't work, I'm going to find another way to make money. I can make versus like a defeatist mentality is, oh, that's already saturated. Oh, this is already, there's no way to make money in 2019 online. That's like the opposite of the mentality that you have. So I was just
yeah,
wondering, that's a growth mindset where you're just looking at different ways. So let's take a little bit of a different turn here. Um, you have a social media page, which is you reached out to me, that's just reselling, and you also have a personal one that's just you. How
yeah.
do you look at social media as a tool
To like drag in customers.
or to build your influence or for friends? Do you look at it separately like that?
I do. I look at it a
Okay.
lot of ways, because we are actually trying to make a couple of accounts for some private label products or replenishables that we are going to be sourcing. And doing that, there's a lot of ways to, use social media for sure. You could, like what we're doing now, you can reach out to people, tell your story. You can you can reach out to people that have similar interests. A lot of people here don't do reselling. They have full-time jobs, whatever. There's nobody to talk about reselling, especially for my age. There's nobody to talk about reselling with. And social media helps with that. It helps with friends, contacting your friends. That's another thing. Yes, there's a lot of different ways that you can use social media, and I think that it is a very good tool.
Okay, because this is also something I've noticed when I started social media, which is in 2000, I think 2000, probably. I've been using social media for probably 12 or 13 years. I'm the same age as Mark Zuckerberg. When Facebook came out, I was like one of the first people to use it. There was not a business element yet,
Correct. Yeah.
only a social network. Now, though, Facebook ads is still one of the cheapest ways to get leads. All of this stuff is so valuable. And you are now, like, the next thing for you, I'm going to predict is learning about paid traffic, because you understand now how to source items, how to find the value. Now you find something popular. Now you can learn how to drive the traffic to it. You can raise it up and down by paying for it. You change $1 in advertising into $1.20 in profit.
Yeah.
I can see you moving and learning that whole niche, and that's a even more way of earning. So I'm fascinated that you can see the difference between social media for friends, social media for influence, social media for branding.
For sure.
They're
Yeah.
all different.
Yeah, and I'd say 6 months ago, or maybe 8 months ago, we did start a Shopify store. I spent probably 10 hours making the website. It wasn't nothing special. Ran ads. It didn't go as planned. We didn't do super well. So, but that is something that a lot of people can do very well with. I'm not going to stop trying. I just stopped trying then because I had so much other stuff to do. Like I was cleaning out storage lockers then. I was getting pallets, I mean, twice a month. I was doing a lot, and I'm definitely going to come back to that for sure this fall.
I love it. Okay, we're gonna shift to shipping. So
Yeah.
let's talk about basic shipping supplies. All that stuff behind you. How did you learn which box, which weight? How did you learn that?
So the main things I ship stuff in is poly, but for boxes, so for weighing, so I do have my employees weigh stuff. I tell them add 5 ounces. That's around how much a box is. I mean, a box is roughly 5 ounces. Depends how big the item is. Normally my stuff is small that I sell. Um, and so I started by buying, I think, 6x9 mailers, 10 by 13 mailers and 8 by 6 by 4 boxes, and that worked perfectly fine. And then I started needing priority mail stuff. So then I started ordering a bunch of priority mail. I ship a lot in shoe boxes. Regional A is a big one. Medium, flat rate. Those are my three biggest for priority mail. As well as the 6 by 6 by 7s boxes, the cube boxes. So depending on what items you have, you need to choose the boxes you sell. Or choose the boxes to buy. If you're selling a lot of clothing or whatever, padded flat rate and 10 by 13 poly bags is just about all you need. Shoe box, the shoe box size priority mail boxes, obviously. Learning what you sell the most of, or what you want to sell, is kind of how you should definitely get the supplies.
That's like right on the money. I would say like maybe a 6 by 9 if you sell women's clothing, the
Yeah,
small stuff. But then the um, 10 by 13, 11 by 13, 9 by 11 is a little bit of a smaller one for maybe some smaller clothing, or smaller electronics may fit in there if you have some
yeah.
padding. It's very cool that you're looking at the um, different containers for different purposes. But let's talk about third-party shipping services. I use third party. How did you come upon that? Why are you using a third party?
So for third party, so I saw an ad. It's the third party shipping service is in Dacia. I mean, it's pretty well known. So before I bought my replenishables, I was thinking about the shipping cost. I think I just bought the replenishables. I was thinking about the shipping cost. The shipping cost, first class, 1 ounce. These are 0.6 ounces each. So with packing 1 ounce, it's like 260 ish, or 260 to $3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot for these. I mean, I'm selling these from $6 to $9. I just raised it $3 because it's still profitable, and I'm still the lowest price. So, and then on Undicia, you can get first class without tracking. So that's what I am doing for this. It has to be within 1/4 of an inch thick, and it has to, under the certain weight that you did choose. I have sold over 70 of this one item. I have had 0 complaints about shipping, about no tracking or whatever. And so I was thinking about that would be a problem, but it hasn't been a problem, and I don't think it is a problem, because
No.
I guess the people that are buying the product aren't expecting them immediately. Even though they're first class, they're going to get there in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I do get really good reviews because of the fast shipping, because they're expecting something without tracking to take a little longer.
You're
Just
also a couple bucks cheaper.
Right, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's $2 to $3 cheaper, but I'm
Right.
paying $18 a month for the subscription,
Right.
which is fine, because I still get around like 1 to 5% off all the other shipping stuff from eBay. So that's another great thing to use.
This is important to also recognize that you don't necessarily qualify for top rated seller if you don't upload tracking within a specific amount of time.
Correct. I,
But
I'm
oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not a top rated seller. I'm not trying to be. I have enough reviews. I have 2 negative feedback in the past year, over 500 positive. Um, I've had probably 5 negative feedbacks removed, um, because of like people are just being stupid and writing bad reviews for no reason. I send the feedback revision, they revise it. So it's I don't think that the top rated really says much. It says you're top rated, you get like 2 or 3% less in fees or in shipping or whatever.
Right.
I don't think that's really necessary for me, considering
No.
I'm already using third-party shipping and all that.
It's not going to be worth it for you because of the advantage you have shipping without tracking. If you ship cheap items that you can just refund them if there is an issue,
Yeah,
then which there usually is not, but that's something that a lot of people don't notice. They don't know. There's also shipping consolidators. So, for example, if you're shipping 250 packages a day, you can negotiate your own rate with the post office and say
yeah,
for this amount, and that happens, and that's why Poshmark is offering a 679 up to 5 pound shipping. The reason for that is,
they're doing thousands a day. I mean,
but also their average package is under a pound. That's
yeah,
why it's 679, because they USPS weighs the entire thing and says, okay, it's about 13, 14 ounces. Let's just
correct.
upgrade all of them to priority. And you'll see that. You'll see people who offer first class shipping $9, and you're like, okay, but the package will arrive priority, even though
Right.
they paid for first class because they've been upgraded because of the volume that they do. The post office is just like, you're a big customer, all priority.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You'll
for
see this
sure.
happen. So that being said, Mercari, because they sell a lot of hard goods, it's more like £2. So if you
Yeah,
look at their priority mail, it's like $8 or $11, depending on what it is. That's the average. So it's
right.
important to recognize this is where these numbers are coming from. eBay can't match Poshmark because it's not under £1 for an average.
Yeah,
So it is, it's cool that you understand your shipping. And the third party, when you start looking at that, you start to find little hacks. And
yeah,
one more hack I'm going to share with you, which you probably already know, is that on Poshmark, you can use a flat rate box up
yeah.
to large flat rate box.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've used large flat rate for sure on
And a
those.
large flat rate box is roughly $16.
Right. It's
Customer is
yeah.
only paying $6.75. So if you sell an item that's $50 that is larger, Poshmark takes a $10 fee, and the
It's
$10 fee is
yeah.
the same as the $10 discount on shipping. So it's almost like paying no fees. Um,
Right.
so these type of like 10 pounds of stuff in a large flat rate box shipping out for $6.79 is such a hack. If you know what
Yeah.
you're doing, you can kill it.
Yeah, I that's what I'm doing with Poshmark. I'm doing all my shoes on Poshmark because they
Right.
weigh 2 pounds or more. That's going to
Okay.
be, I estimate, $8 to $12 a pair, which isn't worth it.
No.
And for eBay, it's going to be a lot more. So I can sell cheaper stuff on Poshmark, and I'm still very profitable because I'm not shipping the stuff on eBay with eBay pricing because it's a lot. And so that's kind of where I'm with how I sort the stuff from eBay to Poshmark. 90% of shoes are going to go on Poshmark. Like a little bit of clothing, like women's clothing is on Poshmark, obviously, and all new with tags clothing. I only do used men's clothing on eBay.
Okay. Let's talk about employees. This is
Yes,
another thing that you do that's not like somebody your age. Most
right.
people, after homework, they do a couple listings, they go to sleep. You are managing other people. Where did you get this idea?
I just thought about it like, what if I set up, 3 or 4 photo booths and hired people, because I was spending so much time listing. Like one day my back hurt so bad from listing in a chair or whatever, and bending over for the photos and stuff like that because I'm listing from a phone, so it's not like it's photographing and then going on the computer and whatever. It's all on phones, which we're going to be, and then for variation listings, we do use the camera, and then we upload on computer and do that. But right now, we're doing phones only for the most part. So I just thought, I could manage my time so much better because I do FBA shipments when they're listing, so I can do both of that. And for how much I'm paying them, it's not worth $10 an hour for me. I don't want to work at $10 an hour. That's not what my goal is. My goal is more towards 100, which is around where I am with FBA. Um, and that includes sourcing time and all that. So it's kind of the time management that got me to thinking, well, I still want to sell the stuff because this does generate really good income, but I don't really want to list it. It gets tiring listing. I can't list 80 hard goods a day. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I probably listed 50 on a good day, but they're listing at 80 to 100, and that's 4 hours. And that's for 2 people.
So Jackson, let me give you a number that I wish I knew when I started. So they say that a really, really, really quality lister can do about 40 listings a day.
Right.
So this would be like pretty well trained, relatively low amount of errors. So if that's 5 days a week, that's about 200 items. Let's just say $10 profit an item. It's probably maybe less or more depending on what type
Right.
of stuff you sell. That's $2,000 profit a week, which means most people who do not have employees, that's kind of your own cap. You can make about 100K a year if you are reselling, just doing all the work yourself. But
Yeah.
for every person that you can hire, you can add 100 grand to your bottom line
Exactly.
if you know what you're doing. So I just want you to write down that to make as much as a lawyer, you would just need 3 or 4 of these people,
Exactly.
which is hard. It's very hard. Most people can't get there, but that's an idea to think about.
Yeah, managing people takes a lot of work. I do, I use Google Docs. I share these Google Docs. I make sure they read everything about the listing, about what they're doing that day. I do have to do all that work, which is, 2 hours a week. It's not much. It's not much of my time to have people being hired. Once I can scale, I could probably scale to 5 people by fall. And 5 people, could generate crazy income if I have enough stuff. And that's another thing, is having enough stuff is really important, because I was literally almost out of stuff once they were done listing. I had 5 pieces left, so I can't have them the next day. I have to go buy a pallet, go get a storage locker. I have to go do something, get a bunch of inventory, because Goodwill, I can't buy 100 things at one Goodwill. It's not here. It's not like there's not enough stuff like that.
That's right. And then I also want to point out this for you to just to keep in mind. One of the best lawyers that I know does not practice law anymore. Okay, so
Right.
his law firm is just cases come in and they get assigned to other lawyers that work for him. And it's his name on the building and he
Yeah.
doesn't do any of it. So it's just that's amazing to me, the concept of the leads come in, either it's products or it's people who need help, whatever products and services, the need comes in, you redistribute it to other people. That is the multiplying yourself and making this amount of money. It's just
Yeah.
okay. Let's move to the concept of a fast dime versus a slow nickel.
Right.
Approach this with your money.
So I'm not in the storage business. I'm not trying to be storing these items for long. Like if I think something's a bad buy, I don't get it. That's why I go to Goodwill. At most 5 things. And that's what helps me with pallets too. Is I have to deal with both of that kind of stuff. So we are planning. What we're starting to plan is doing flea markets and stuff like that for all the stuff that doesn't sell. Because because I used to liquidate my stuff and sell the big liquidations myself, and I would liquidate so much stuff that still has a lot of value that I'm selling for less than what I could get at a flea market or whatever. So that's kind of our approach with dealing with stuff that doesn't sell. You would definitely have to have a big scale of stuff to be going to a flea market to sell stuff, but definitely that's how we are processing stuff, that like even returns and stuff like that. We will liquidate returns as well. Because like if it's stuff that we need to retest, sometimes it's not worth it because I'll get stuff without the power cord, then I have to order the power cord, and then I have to do all that work. And that's, if it's a $6 power cord and a $15 item or $20 item, it's not worth doing that. It's better than liquidating at around 12% of retail.
So what do you prefer? Do you like it fast or do you like it slow for more profit?
Oh, fast for sure. I don't want to store these items for 3 months to get another 20-30%. I'd rather sell this stuff. That's why I take offers on so much stuff, is because if my margins, I'll accept the offer if my margins are great. If I'm like from storage lockers, if I've already done $2,000 and it was an $800 locker, I'm just gonna accept the offer if it's good enough. So I'm definitely more of a fast. I'm not trying to store this stuff. I'm not trying to store this stuff for 6 months and not let it sell. Like I just liquidate it by that time. So definitely fast, because if I get an offer on something, I really think about it, because that there could be a buyer 8 months away. I'm not going to wait for something like that.
So that's one of my favorite tips that I have for e-commerce, which is the fast nickel. Usually people who learn the fast nickel can figure out the dime part. They can figure out how to make it more profitable. You just need stuff to sell. You can figure
Yeah,
out how to turn revenue into more margin. But the people who have a lot of margin but stuff is not selling, that's a lot harder to fix that. They just have a bunch of stuff that's stale. The eBay doesn't like you because they don't want stuff on their site that doesn't sell.
exactly.
They're gonna keep pushing your traffic down. But if you're selling stuff fast, you actually get the opposite. You get special treatment because you know what
Right.
you're doing, and they're like, okay, Jackson knows what he's doing. He has a high sell-through rate. He's gonna keep posting stuff like he posted before. Let's give him the right traffic, and then you can scale from that, which is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
And
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
When you're hiring people, don't have them listing the slow stuff. I have stuff that sell within 10 minutes, and that pays for them working for the entire day. I paid $2 for the item, round in a pallet, whatever, and then $2 for the item. I got back $25. That paid for half of the day of them working and listing 20.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing, is when you're hiring people, don't have them listing the stuff that you think will sell. Have them listing brand name stuff. Don't, like, not the bad crap, the off brands, like the kind of tchotchke type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The $2-3 profit. That's not what's gonna sell, because another thing is the shipping goes on top of that, and then it's just you're not making money, or it's not gonna sell. Because I do free shipping on 95% of my stuff, and it's done extremely well doing that way. But I don't have experience with charging shipping. I don't have much experience with doing that. Like when I was starting, I would, but other than that, I didn't do that. So
This is a really interesting thing that you point out, because most people do not do that. They have them listing stuff that's hard, and
yeah,
stuff that's hard needs you. You're the
right,
expert. You list the hard stuff. Let them list the easy stuff. It's not the opposite. That's like
yeah,
totally makes sense. Very
yeah.
smart. Okay, so to end, I want to ask you, like, what you do for fun. What do you want to, like? Let's say you have an e-commerce store going. What do you do with the other time, with the other amount of time in your life?
I hang out with friends quite a bit. I do play video games a little bit. That's kind of how I'm connecting with some of my friends, is through that. I'm definitely really social and doing all of that type of stuff. Um, I like watching a lot of YouTube as well. I sometimes get hooked into that. But that's around all I do. Social, YouTube, like watching YouTube, and this business that I'm running.
That's incredible. And then, are you gonna start being on social media? Do you look at it as a business opportunity or for fun? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to it. I'm definitely going to be starting YouTube sometime in the fall as well. Because I've been thinking about that. I mean, for years, just didn't know what to do it about. Now I'm going to start doing it, and probably in fall. And then I'm just going to keep pushing I have 5 Instagram accounts, but 2 of them are public. Those 2 I'm going to definitely be pushing. Hopefully higher numbers, especially with my business one, because a lot of people are amazed by my story. I was unloading a pallet yesterday. Not your average person's unloading a pallet. I mean, and it's like 100 degrees. It's not as much work as people think. People think I'm working 6-8 hours a day. It's not like that. A lot of it's fun. Even going to get the pallets, that's fun for me, especially. So going to a pallet place is really an experience, like a liquidation place. 500,000 square feet. It's crazy. Um, and and also managing your time with how long that takes you, because sometimes, I mean, that can take me quite a while to go, because it's literally an hour away. So managing my time while doing that is going to be is somewhat easy, because I'm responding to emails, I'm managing questions on eBay, I'm managing all the customer service stuff while we're driving. So some of the hours that we do drive and stuff to go to get these pallets are spent well in doing stuff for my business. So that does help with a lot of my time management, is doing that stuff when I'm in the car or whatever, because that's time that I'm spending looking out the window.
This is insane to me. So okay, I can tell that you're going to be really successful, because, and it just makes me really happy, because not one time in this call did you say, like, I want to buy a Lamborghini, or I want to spend money on something stupid. You didn't even mention that. You just
Right.
like, this is fun, and you're just learning the skills going to make you profitable. You can have a
Yeah.
Lamborghini later.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's down the road. Like the only expensive thing I'd buy now would be the down payment on this house right here, because I'm eventually going to buy this in a year or two. I'm hoping for.
That's sick. It's so awesome, man. Well, how can people find you if they want to reach out to you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
A lot of Instagram's a good way. Resale dot underscore dot addicts. And then I have my social Instagram linked in that Instagram account. So you can just reach me through either of those. If you want to reach through email, jackson.ebay.resale@gmail.com is going to be the best one. And eventually YouTube and Facebook and all that I will set up, but not right now.
Sounds good. Everybody, thank you so much for coming to stop by to meet Jackson. Like, subscribe, and if you want more of this content, you can reach out to me if you want to be on the show as well. Thank you very much for your time, Jackson.
Thank
And
you.
if you want to do this again, let me know. And if you want to start your
All
channel,
right.
I'm happy to plug you as well.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you.